Hi there, my name is Nathan, and this is another episode of The Human Experience. And today I'm joined by my wonderful partner, Andrea, and we're going to talk about diets, about the kind of beauty standards in today's world, and also modern family life. We just felt like it was really important to cover some of these topics because, as a new family ourselves, having a little boy that is about to be 3, we just thought that there's a lot of things that we've been through in this time of, him coming into our lives and managing the family that other families must be going through and can possibly relate to. And I think it's nice sometimes to hear that someone else has some of the same problems and the same kind of things that they want to do in life as a kind of, just a way of, I don't know, say, having some kind of relatability to it or whatever, understanding in the world. So yeah, we're all trying to do the best thing as far as I'm aware in life. And it's just figuring out a way to do that best thing, I guess. So yeah, how you doing, baby? All right?
Yeah.
Obviously, for people that don't know, you're a dietitian. Yeah. So obviously I wanted to try and go into your kind of expertise at the start and relate it again to family and your own kind of well-being. So yeah, being a dietitian, like I just wanted to go into what kind of got you into food and nutrition.
Well, going back, like when I left school, my first job, I just went and worked in a kitchen, and mainly because it was just easy to get into. Like, I didn't do A levels or anything after school, so you didn't need any of that. Like, you could just work in a kitchen, and like my main thing of leaving school was I just wanted to earn my own money. So I wanted responsibility a bit too early on, and so I worked in a kitchen for quite a long time. And then, so when I got to, like, say, my early 20s, I started thinking about what did I want to do? What type of career did I want to do? Because I felt like I didn't want to do chefing or work in a kitchen forever. And I started thinking, like, I like working with food. So the option was, maybe look more at the nutritional side of food. And so I just thought, how can I get into that?
Yeah.
Went to speak to a careers advisor, and the options was a nutritionist or a dietitian, and it just sounded really up my street, really.
Yeah.
I looked into that. Went to college quite late on, so like mid-20s. Went back to college, which was challenging, having been out of education for so long.
Doing all the theory and that again, and all the classes, lectures.
Yeah. So having to, like, get my head around science again. And then went on to study dietetics at uni.
And where was that, sorry?
Coventry.
And as you were doing that course, like, as you're studying, are you like, this is something that I was maybe being in the kitchen all them years, you wasn't even aware of, like, oh, actually what nutrition and what food I'm actually making. It's more, obviously, being in a hotel, it's more the experience of eating, like people want nice food as such.
Yeah, and obviously then a lot of the time, well, most of the time when you're eating out, the places that you're eating, it's a lot of fast convenience food, to be honest, especially the food that I was making in the hotel. I worked in mainly the sort of the 24-hour bar part of the hotel. So it wasn't the healthiest food, and but it sells, unfortunately. So
and it serves a purpose because people want to eat for pleasure or at leisure in them places, and therefore, like, they just want something easy to eat or pleasurable to eat, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah. So so obviously then you qualified as a dietitian, and I know you've been through a number of jobs doing that, but I wanted to say now, with you going through, your career path as a dietitian and being in different areas of it, from a hospital setting to more of a, charity setting and stuff like that, what would you say is some common things that people get wrong when it comes to eating?
I think sometimes a lot of people overcomplicate it, overcomplicate eating. So a balanced diet hasn't really changed throughout the years. Like, we need all of the components to make a balanced diet. So that's protein, fats, carbohydrates, and fruit and vegetables. So as long as you're eating from every food group, you're essentially getting most of the nutrients that your body needs.
Yeah.
I think where we've gone wrong throughout the years is definitely portion sizes.
Super size.
Super size, yeah.
Ain't it?
And
Wow.
that's not necessarily us to blame. Like, obviously, the supermarkets, like, you buy a packet of things which people would assume is
A normal portion
a normal
or whatever.
portion,
Yeah.
and it will be the small print on the back which says, this is 4 servings or something.
Yeah. We spoke about pizza, isn't it? Like, we all assume you buy a pizza, and if, say, me and you were just going to eat it,
We'd eat half each.
Yeah.
Which we do.
Yeah.
But that's not the way that we should be eating.
Yeah.
So if you're eating a pizza, it's what essentially just carbohydrate, which is the base, and a lot of fat in the cheese.
Yeah.
And then usually some sort of processed meat, or for us, meat alternative, if we go for that one. It's not a balanced meal, is it? Like, where's your fruit and vegetables? Where's your protein a lot of the time? Obviously, if it's got dairy cheese on it, you'll be getting some protein from that. But it's not ideal, is it? It's not what we would call a balanced meal. And I think we're all guilty of that. And mainly, it is because we live such fast lives. Like, we're looking for convenience foods all the time. And we've lost that art of, like, cooking at home and cooking from fresh.
Yeah.
And through no fault of our own, like, a lot of us don't have the time, like, with work, raising our children.
Yeah, it's a busy schedule.
Trying to, and, a lot of people now have moved away. Don't always live so close to their families. So you've got that time of going to visit families, and it's really hard to fit everything in. And unfortunately, the nutrition side of things is often the compromise.
Yeah. I know you helped me to understand that stuff with the balanced meal, like having a pizza, say, and mixing it with, a salad or some vegetables, rather than just having pizza chips with all the sauces on.
Yeah.
There's nothing really going on there. And it's carbs on carbs.
Yeah.
But I'm aware, being with you, that I know this because I'm with you and you're a dietitian, do you know what I mean? So another thing I would say, and I don't know if you agree with that, is that your everyday person growing up, and again, I think maybe this even starts from young, being someone at school, like secondary school age or something, we're never really taught about nutrition properly.
No, and I'm not sure if that's changing with today's curriculum. I'm not sure, but I don't remember learning anything about nutrition.
Yeah.
Even working in a kitchen, like, we had to learn about allergies, and, like, because we had to state what allergens were in the meals that we were serving, the dishes that we were serving. But no, not really any nutrition. And then even now, like, if you go out to eat at a restaurant, they might have the calories on there. And I don't know how I feel about that, because, like, people shouldn't be basing their choices just off the calorie content of a meal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not helping. And especially then you've got, people with eating disorders, which is going to make eating out just a really stressful and anxious time, because the calories are just there in front of them, and that's exactly what they're trying to avoid is calorie counting. So I don't think, the government have obviously tried to put something in place to deal with, the rates of obesity and people that are overweight, but we're getting it wrong.
Yeah. And you said it there, with obesity increasing, and when I look around me and I see certain people within my family, within my friendship groups, and then obviously, like, colleagues at work, or just the general public when you're out shopping, it's like, I feel like I can literally see the obesity rate rising in front of my eyes. And like I say, when it's happening to people close to you, you're kind of like, something, not that just that something needs to be done, but, like, where are we getting it wrong? Like you were saying there. So yeah, the government obviously could help. There could be more education. So yeah, we've got a few of the issues there, like portion size and having a balanced meal. What would you say then? What are the steps towards getting things right in terms of eating healthy for families, for individuals? Like what things can you start off doing or considering?
Yeah, I think like obviously the whole portion distortion issue. A lot of the time, our portion sizes have mainly increased with carbohydrates, from what I can see. Like people, and if we go to eat out at a restaurant, like you might see that as a normal portion size, but it's not. And this is what's playing with our with our knowledge of what we should be eating, because
it's been presented in front of you. Like this is a so-and-so's meal from a certain restaurant. And this is okay to eat. And then you think, okay, at night time, I'll eat that or whatever.
And you think, oh, well, actually, I'm not satisfied if I have the correct portion size. And so so I think a way to tackle portion sizes and, eat the right amounts of different components of our food is to increase the variety of your food. So what we just said about, if we cooked a pizza, we'd probably eat half each, where actually if you served some vegetables and salad and maybe a sprinkling of seeds or something on that on the salad, you'd have a more balanced meal. You could have a smaller portion of pizza. And by including a variety of different food groups on your plate, you're getting a more balanced meal and you're still satisfied after. Another thing is eating without distractions. So put your phone down when you're sitting down to eat. Try and eat away from telly. At work time, I know a lot of us like
eating on the go kind of thing.
Or you're eating on the go, like I don't know, maybe driving and eating a sandwich. And I know it's difficult, and for some it's probably not practical, but just sitting down to eat without any distractions, so you're actually eating a lot more mindfully. You're focusing on what you're eating, because I think a lot of the time if you're eating with distractions, sometimes your body doesn't even know that it's just eaten, and then you're not satisfied after that meal, and then you'll go and grab something else because you're just not aware that what you've just consumed. Another thing is
the cravings as well.
And because of the convenience, because we're always looking for convenience food, because we don't have time to cook properly, I think a lot of the time that they'll be quite hyper palatable foods, which means they're kind of easy to eat, and that's another thing, that it digests a lot quicker, and then you'll probably go and grab a snack an hour or two later. So I mean, there's loads of reasons why we're over consuming.
So in my mind as well, then you need to obviously try and understand what you're eating more. Like you said, be more mindful when you are eating. Mix the things on your plate. Don't just have one thing. Have a variety of stuff.
So make sure you're having a source of protein, a source of carbohydrates, and a fruit or vegetables or salad with your meals. So just making sure you're having a bit of everything.
I think one you've said to me before is about the snacks as well. Make them healthier. So have a bag of nuts or have a piece of fruit or whatever available. Because
convenience food doesn't have to be unhealthy, does it? Like fruit is quite convenient. It's already got its a lot of the time it's already got its coat, and it's not like you have to wrap it up or put it in a bag or put it in a little lunchbox or anything. It's got that skin to protect it, so you just
on the go.
You can carry it with you on the go. So like I said, convenience food doesn't have to be unhealthy. You can get packets of rice that you could just heat up on the go, packets of lentils. Sometimes you have these things for work. They're not unhealthy meals,
and they fill you,
and they're filling. They've got a lot more nutrition than
I appreciate what you're saying, but I also know that there's that battle, isn't it, as well? Not just with what you're eating, but the taste. And obviously and I was only just learning this, but with them putting in the flavor enhancers and different things, that makes it more palatable to you as well. Even the whole,
It does. And it's obviously going to take a while to change those taste receptors, isn't it? I mean, you'll know from going vegan, like, and I remember from going vegan, like, when I first had vegan cheese, it was disgusting. And
milk was a bit like you didn't know how to find the right.
Because you're just used to that taste, aren't you, of what you've always had. Like, it's a habit as well. So yeah, you do have to be patient with.
Yeah, give yourself time to adjust to it. The habits. Yeah.
And I think just, like I said, if you're opting for less high palatable foods and you're chewing more and things like that, you're going to enjoy that food. It's going to satisfy you for a lot longer.
Okay.
And take longer to digest. Like you said, a bag of nuts or a portion. I wouldn't say a bag, because I think a lot of bags of nuts have about 10 portions in. So a handful of nuts. Maybe throw in a bit of dried fruit with that. That's a good snack.
Yeah. No, nice. I think coming away from, for me personally, and you help me to do that obviously, I try and, having the nuts is not always ideal, the portion size maybe sometimes, but I've come away from, say, chocolate bars and crisps. Because to me, growing up, that was your normal snack. It's in service stations. It's in your newsagents. It's available 24/7.
It's part of the meal deals.
Exactly.
The meal deals always include chocolate. I mean, there are obviously healthier alternatives now, but if you're always used to having that sandwich, packet crisps or chocolate bar, fizzy drink.
For our little one, we love a good one for families with little ones to try, and you have to get them to start to, try it and consider it, because they will if it's the norm. But they do packs, which I love in the meal deals, is sliced apple and peanut butter.
He loves that.
And carrot sticks with hummus. And I just think, wow, I don't think that was even available when I was younger. But we are moving forward with things. So they're making it a little bit easier.
They are,
Yeah, if you're aware of it. Also, I wanted to touch on, because even with us being vegan and stuff like that, or even if you're not vegan, I feel like you made me aware of taking supplements.
Yeah.
What can people start on with that?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say like everyone has to take a supplement. For vegans, there are certain nutrients that we should be supplementing. So vitamin B12, it's hard to get that from obviously a vegan diet unless you're eating consciously in a lot of B12 fortified foods. But I'd always just say take a supplement as a backup, because you don't want a B12 deficiency. But I mean, everybody should be supplementing vitamin D in this country anyway. So we don't get enough sunlight all year round. So at least during the winter months, people should be supplementing vitamin D.
Okay.
But there's other groups that need supplements. So obviously people that are trying to conceive should be supplementing folic acid to reduce the risk of birth defects when the child's born. I like that you said that, because my thing was thinking in my younger years, maybe mid-20s, that I'm young, fit and healthy and I can eat what I want, get away with what I want, and not supplementing. I feel like you get away with it to a certain point, because with that deficiency, it might take a while to present, or you might be unaware, like you said with the folic acid there, that's helping you to conceive and not have a birth defect. So this is what I want to reiterate, which Andrew is saying, which is so important, is the reason we're stressing to eat right and take these supplements, in my mind, is so we don't have the bad health implications later on in life, or in life while we're living in our lives, you know what I mean, day to day. Because they have serious consequences. Do you know what I mean? So vitamin D really helps support calcium. So it's helping your bones, stay stronger. So really good for bone health. And vitamin B12 is really important for like nerve function. So
wow, okay.
But sometimes it takes really long time before you even have symptoms of any deficiency. So I think people are like, I'm fine, I've never took B12, and it's like, but it could be 5-6 years down the line where
Yeah.
you'll start seeing those symptoms of
Yeah.
deficiency and
Yeah.
like nerve issues, like
Yeah.
tingling in the hands and feet, and poor memory, poor cognition, things like that. It's yeah, and it's a bit too late then. So
Yeah. To support what you're saying, here's some food for thought, yeah, which is a pun intended. To me, I thought in my mind, wow, why do certain milk, cereals, certain foods basically, why are they fortified? I couldn't get my head around it. And I was thinking, why would a company do that? It costs them more money. But I understand it was a thing from the government that implement that to say, your food, basically the way I see it, sorry, not that they say, is that your food is very low nutritional value. And if that's going to be like a standard food like milk is, whether it's, plant milks or dairy milk, whether it's cereal or something like, I don't know, crackers or something like that, if it's a key component of food in the diet of Western diet or any diet.
A lot of staple foods are now fortified. So you mentioned breakfast cereals. A lot of us, particularly children, have breakfast cereals in the morning before school or whatever. And they're quite heavily fortified with a lot of B vitamins, iron, calcium, vitamin D. And this is because of the majority of a Western diet is that, you're not getting these nutrients. So even when people say, for example, a lot of people think that the weak point of a vegan diet is the fact that you need to supplement, but they're already eating foods that have been fortified anyway. They're supplementing the food anyway. So does it matter if you're taking a supplement or if you're eating fortified food?
That's a good point.
The same with cows and dairy. Like a lot of the cow feed now is fortified because they're not getting the nutrients from the soil, from the grass, and so a lot of cow feed is actually supplements. So when people say, vegans have to take a supplement and they're drinking cow's milk or eating beef or whatever to get those nutrients, well, actually that cow was supplemented for you to get those nutrients. So you're just taking out the cow in the middle by eating, by supplementing it yourself as a vegan.
Yeah. It's already happening whether you're aware of it or not. Yeah.
Yeah. And going back to like fortified foods.
Yeah. So
in a Western diet in particular, a lot of our food has become quite refined. They're like white flour, a lot of, cereal products, white breads and pasta and white rice, so that refinement process has stripped away a lot of the nutrient value of food. So then they have to add it back in some way. And
that's what I was getting at, sorry to say. So because they make that effort to fortify it, because it was probably even taken away, you said about with wheat, you've got the wheat germ and the bran that has the nutrition, that's stripped with a lot of the refined wheats and flours.
So in the UK, it's mandatory to fortify white flour.
Okay.
But not wholemeal flour, and obviously because the wholemeal flour has those nutrients already in it. And the white flour has those added nutrients added to it because they've stripped it away during the refinement.
So I hope you're understanding that, to say that things are in food, the food industry as such takes it out and then through the processing and then re-puts it back in. And I think the reason the government do that is because they know, imagine they're thinking on the behalf of us. They call it the nanny state, where they're thinking for us in modern life. And it's like they fortify that because they know if they didn't, we'd have an epidemic of health issues. So they're almost doing it for you. And I think, well, why would they do it for you unless it was in the interests of business, of profit, unfortunately. So I think these conversations are going on now. There's things on podcasts online that we're being more aware of, like what we're putting in our bodies. That leads me on to something we've recently become aware of, and that is, what about what we put on our bodies? Now, I know that's not your field, but I know as a family now, we're talking more personally, like that's what we thought about more, what cosmetics, what toiletries we're using.
Yeah, definitely. Because I think, we kind of just blindly used to buy things that maybe smelt nice or
Yeah.
that felt nice on their skin, probably because they had lots of fillers or I don't know, whatever's in them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know, me and you have been looking a bit deeper into it, haven't we? And like, actually a lot of the things that they put in these products are essentially toxic, aren't they? Or endocrine disruptors is...
Yeah. So they're some of them are what you mentioned there. The endocrine disruptors is like they'll create hormonal imbalance.
Yeah.
They'll also affect reproductive systems. So again, my thing is, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor, but or a scientist as such. I'm like an amateur, but I see a trend of okay, fertility rates are dropping off, and we're having these products on us all the time that are interrupting with that. Then that to me shows why it's happening. Do you know what I mean? And therefore, when people need to seek out fertility treatment or are not being able to have children themselves, not 100% of the time, but some of the time, it is these products that have kind of infiltrated our lives. There's a cream for every part of your body. Do you know what I mean? Your hand, your face. I don't know, different, your eyes, there's so many things that, that's what we were getting at. Even with the fragrances, the things that they carry in them that you're constantly inhaling, it's disruptive in your body. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And obviously it's not just about the fertility rates, like we're seeing which could be as a result of, our environment and the amount of endocrine disruptors that are surrounding us. Like we're seeing girls' puberty start sooner, which then is obviously going to have a knock-on effect on their reproductive health, but also that females in particular have early onset puberty, they're the types of people that we're seeing as they grow are having like a lot of weight and health issues as well.
Oh, okay. So there's a link there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they're really struggling to sort of obviously maintain their weight or lose weight because of these hormonal imbalances. So I think there's obviously a massive stigma with like overweight and obesity, which is very unfair because a lot of this is beyond people's control. You know what I mean? It's starting in childhood. Even like these endocrine, the microplastics that we've spoken about, they can be passed on through the placenta when the baby's not even born. So they've already
been exposed to it.
Been exposed to these things which could have a knock-on effect throughout their whole life. It's scary. This is the world we're living in.
So what we've kind of seeked out, just to give people, we're on the very beginning of this journey as well, but we've seeked out that, when we've heard certain podcasts or seen certain news reports that try and limit like the use of things with fragrance in it. So you were looking at like essential oils,
So fragrances, if it's just got a label on it which says fragrances, then it's obviously not being transparent, is it?
Yeah.
If it lists the essential oils in it, then you know that those fragrances come from natural source.
Yeah.
Which aren't thought to be toxic. So
and
little things like that, step by step. Obviously we're learning more, we're quite new to
reducing the use of stuff,
yeah.
Like not doing stuff. So that kind of feeds onto a more kind of, I would say, immediate and severe kind of version of cosmetics and makeup and toiletries and all that kind of stuff that feeds onto the way we look and how we feel. And a lot of that is like with this aesthetic treatments that for me they're becoming like a big bugbear. I mean, I say it's predominantly women. I know men are getting treatments done and stuff done, but I feel like I'm not a dad of a little girl, but if I was a dad of a little girl, I'd be very scared because the things that you tell me that are being pushed on social media and in the media at large, they're not helpful. These things like fillers, chemical peels, plastic surgery, how do you feel about these things? Because you being a woman and me not being a woman, what do you notice?
Yeah.
What's happening in?
I mean, I do feel the pressure. I'm not going to lie. Like, every time I go on social media, there's just beautiful women, like, everywhere. A lot of my friends have had, you know, Botox fillers, lip fillers. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to feel like, I suppose, to feel attractive when you're not getting these things, because that is the beauty standard that's been put out there for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And beauty standards always change, don't they? Like, it used to be big boobs, and now I don't know if that's
More reductions or
no, it's yeah.
putting
No, a
them,
lot of women
pinning
are
them
getting
up or
their
whatever it is. I
breast
don't know.
implants removed, whether it's for, you know, health reasons or just because that's not the beauty standard anymore. It's yeah. It bothers me. It bothers me. I'm like, who is deciding that this is the standard of beauty all the time? And actually, like, why should we all look the same as well?
I think
Like,
that
everybody's
100%.
getting lip fillers to have these bigger lips.
Yeah.
Or
It doesn't suit
Botox, so
every
yeah.
what's the word, like not complexion, but it doesn't suit every kind of, you know, the profile of your face or your features, because you might be from a different background. So different ethnicities, if you're all getting the same kind of thing, you end up, like you say, looking the same, which is weird. So be you know, and I know, oh, sorry, I'm laughing there, but to say that this is a serious thing in people's minds, a bit like, you know, having body dysmorphia or whatever, it's like, it's in your mind, but to say, I really do think we need more self-care, more self-love, more support from the community to say that being uniquely you is fine. And I know that's not easy. There's having low self-esteem and not having confidence, and like you say, these things being pushed on you all the time. What do you think helped you not to resist these marketing and trends?
I think I just don't agree with that. That should be the standard of beauty. I just don't agree with it. Like, I don't agree with having a beauty standard. Like, I just think everyone is beautiful in their own way. So, I mean, obviously, I do have my own self-esteem issues. Like, for example, I've put makeup on now to do that. Like, I don't feel comfortable being on camera without makeup. So I can't say I'm completely immune to these pressures. But I just think there's a thing with women where we're always pushed to look young. Like, aging is a natural process. Men don't have them same pressures. Like, men, like, why can't women just age gracefully and still be beautiful or respected in certain industries for, you know, for how they look at a certain age? Like, I don't. It's impossible to stay looking in your 20s when you're getting older. So why are we pushed to still look 20 when we're 40? It's just silly.
And it doesn't fully go with that point that you were making there, but I do want to say from the men's point of view as well, with that, of to say that just for me personally, but obviously I'm not representing all men, but like there will be a portion that think like me, is that I don't feel that every man wants a woman to look that way. Do you get what I mean? So a beauty standard, say in fashion, might come from, what do you call it? It might come from, you know, a magazine, a certain magazine, that is, you know, there's a fashion show on for a certain brand and they've picked their models. So they've dictated. And whether they're a man or woman designer that's picked these models, they might not be consciously thinking that that is what I think's beautiful. It's just that this is what I'm putting on for my show.
It's on brand.
Exactly. And then that feeds into people's self-esteem and confidence, because they think, I don't look like that. But you said it there, you should just want to look like yourself and own it yourself. And I think in anything in life, when you're yourself and your own kind of, and you know, this is a word coming up trending now of like authentic and honesty and all that kind of thing, that we like that more. And not only is it like with fake news, it's also with like fake, whether it's, you know, being fake or looking fake, I think is losing its appeal, because people are saying like, I should be comfortable in my own skin. I should be able to be myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, looking ahead, could be done to help, especially young girls and women, or, you know, even men with that kind of issues with how they look? What do you think can help going forward? I'm not saying you have the full answer, but...
It's just, it's, I don't know, it's really hard. Because it's similar to the food industry. Like, how can we help people not want to eat all of these, you know...
It's so available.
Everything's so available.
Yeah.
And sometimes it does have to come from the top down. So obviously changing our food environment would be government intervention, you know, changing what's on offer for them to be putting rules and restrictions on the food industry so that all of these foods aren't so heavily available. And it's very similar with this beauty standards that were being sold. You know, if there was more restrictions on social media, for, like I said, every time I go on social media, I'm trying to be sold an anti-aging cream, or there's all these transformation videos or whatever that are just constantly, like, my feed is being bombarded with all of these things. So yeah, just
that needs to be more filtered out and managed by the
something
companies
on social media, and just the beauty standards. But I'll say that about top down, but usually the way to change policies and rules and regulations comes from the people as a whole.
So demanding it.
Really, we really need to fight against it and say, no, I'm not, I don't want this.
Yeah, so a simple thing there, going back to the food of what you eat, and also, like we're saying there, what you put on your skin, for me, would be to think, you know, do a bit of research. I know that's, again, having the time to do that, but just be more conscious and aware of what you're eating and what you're putting on your body. And therefore, when you make them conscious steps, you're going to buy more ethically, more consciously. Like you said, with the eating mindfully, you're going to be more mindful. And therefore, as soon as these companies, as in the big retailers, see you buying more of the ethical products or the less toxic products, less unhealthy products, they're going to adapt to that. That's the beauty of business. I'm not against business. I'm not against these industries, but they need to provide us with the things that we deserve now, which is good quality food and good quality products in terms of toiletries and cosmetics and whatever. You can wear it, it's fine in my eyes, but it should be healthy. And if it's going to affect, you know, like you say, puberty, reproduction, even, you know, maybe some kind of autoimmune diseases and stuff like that, that's having really severe consequences on our society. It's not helping anyone.
And I think one thing we haven't mentioned as well is there's always that affordability, isn't it? It tends to be like the things that are better for us are out of reach for a lot of people because they just can't afford them. And that's definitely something that the government can help with in terms of our food system. Like, fruit and vegetables should be the cheaper option.
Definitely.
Food shouldn't be the cheapest option.
So I think a final note on that kind of the cosmetics and stuff is, if it ain't natural, it ain't right. Now I'd like to touch on, like I say, because we're a relatively young family, and I think we're like a great partnership. So as well as us having our relationship, then our son comes into the mix. We have our dog as well. Then we're a family, and things come in the way of not just us being together and having our time, but like the struggles of modern life. So just if you can just say some of the things that you feel we've come across, and I'll add in as well, pitch in with some of the things that we struggle with as a family.
Time.
Time's a massive one.
I think all of us spending time together is a struggle, and actually us just spending time together alone we don't get much of that. And it's just how life is, as we've spoken about the cost of living crisis, or just not even the crisis that we're at now, just in general, just the cost of living in general. both parents now need to work. Well, if you're from a certain background, both parents need to work. To keep the household moving, and I think that definitely has an impact on time. So you've got childcare costs, you've got mortgage or rent, running a car, bills, food. And
I know I was saying to you, obviously looking after your own health, and also not losing yourself. We said so. We spoke. As our friend Heather was saying, like when you become a parent, just don't lose yourself in being a parent. So you still need to maintain if you have a certain hobby or you want to be active, as in some kind of training regime or something that you want to do, socializing with your friends. Make sure you find time for that as well, because at the end of the day, to be a best parent, you have to look after yourself as well for the child as well. So you could just purely focus on our son, but then if we lose ourselves, he's not, as he grows up, he's going to think, well, my mum and dad have just dedicated their lives to me and they have nothing for themselves. It wouldn't be healthy, basically.
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah,
and I do struggle to do things myself because I'm so invested in doing things for him and making sure he's all right. But I think my main struggle was just going back to work. I feel like I was good in maternity. I had that
was the
maternity
balance.
leave. I feel like we had a good regime. Obviously, it wasn't nice with you going to work a lot and not being home. But I think it was the environment we was in as well. Like, obviously, I was living closer to my family, so I had a lot more support around me. And I was able to go out and be quite active. And you just felt that purpose of like, this baby is totally, completely dependent on you and I'm providing what he needs. And it was just, it was a nice feeling. And then I suppose you go back to work and you're like, oh no, I'm sending him, somebody else is looking after him. And you can't fully focus because you've just literally dedicated nearly a year to looking after this new life. And then you go back to work and I'm just like, who am I in this job? What am I supposed to do? And then being pregnant and just being a mom in general, I think a lot of your brain goes to that child. You sacrifice a lot of your
sanity and cognitive function. Especially with the lack of sleep.
I know, and even now I'm 2 years into returning to work after maternity, and I still I still don't definitely feel like I'm not that person that I was before I had.
Nice. So I just wanted to highlight some of the problems there to say, so everyone can relate. You know what I mean? Like, you're not going to have no time. You're going to feel like so stressed, feel like, you can't live this way anymore, that your mind is racing all the time because you're thinking to be the perfect parent, but also the perfect partner. And you get burnt out, whether it's like balancing work and family life, childcare. With them things, like, now I wanted to kind of say, like, what do we do to help manage them so people can have an idea? Because it's always good, I think, to share, tips and advice, after we've kind of been through that phase. What would you say is one of the things that we did to help manage that, especially the transition of you going back to work?
I think we share the load quite a lot, don't we? Like we don't have them, us as a modern family, or don't feel like we have those gender typical roles.
Yeah, nice.
Like, you definitely do your part with raising Blake or doing the washing or whatever needs doing. Like, if I'm busy doing something else, like, I know that I can count on you to do dinner or like wash the dishes or make sure the laundry's done, things like that. So I think that definitely takes a massive pressure off me because I know I haven't got to do everything.
Nice.
Which I think a lot of women do feel, and a lot of men don't understand.
That
yeah, when we have those gender typical roles, the woman is usually doing a lot more, in my opinion. The man's going out to work and earning the bread, but yeah, a lot of the time the woman's trying to do everything else. And now because women are working as well and then trying to do all that on top,
you need to share the load,
you just get burnt out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's helped. Obviously, we've got our own hobbies that we try and give each other time for. So I'll go and play netball on a Sunday.
Yeah.
I know that you've got that sometimes you come and watch, and it's nice just having, because that's what I enjoy doing. So
I've gone gym and played basketball and stuff sometimes.
Or doing these recordings.
Doing my channel, it gives me time out.
Yeah, so I think being respectful that we need our own space.
Yeah.
As well as...
Yeah. I think as well as that, is that we've made time for each other. So again, you'll look at your calendar and you'll probably see, wow, a date night is only literally like once a month or something like that.
No,
if you can, if you can manage it.
Every 3 months or something.
Yeah, but I think that it's just managing that time, like scheduling in things to look forward to. So like we had a family holiday. It might not just be us, but we know that we're having time together at least. They really help. They give you like a boost. And it's kind of sad that you can only have like 5-6 weeks off in a full-time job or something. But, again, we've sacrificed our finances to try and balance that. So eventually now we're transitioning towards Andrea going back to full-time, because her career has better kind of work times and more kind of sociable time. Yeah. And then I will go part-time, and that'll give me a chance then to see Andrea's world of like having to do more stuff at home. Not because, like you say, it's a gender role, but just because if you're full-time and I'm part-time and I'm at home more, I need to pick up that slack of doing the house chores just because I'm here to do it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely a balancing act. So yeah, I think we definitely work well together. There's times, you said a really good one earlier that was like recognizing your partner as well when they might have had enough, they might have reached their thing. So I might be like, oh babe, if I know you mentioned you wanted to do your hair this week, go do your hair, go have a shower or go have a bath, or you wanted to go and grab something from the shop a sec for yourself, or, with your doing the vintage, you wanted a minute to go sort that and post stuff at the post office. You need little timeouts from the family kind of life. Yeah, nice. Just kind of finishing up, just to say that we all go through struggles. There's things that will change with policies in the future, so we have to kind of be patient with these things. But also I think the responsibility on ourselves is try and manage our own situations the best we can by learning stuff that is out there. There's so much knowledge out there now, when it comes to Andrea with the nutritional stuff. Like, you can look up so much of this stuff. We use an app called Yucca that I didn't mention before, but a practical thing there is that you can search on Yucca by scanning barcodes, food products, toiletries, cosmetics to a certain degree, of what is in them, and therefore make more informed choices of what you're consuming and what you're putting on your body. It just comes down to self-love, self-care, and not putting too much pressure on yourself. We're both parents. We know we're not going to be perfect for our son, but we're just trying to do the best by him.
Yeah.
And he might not thank us in the future, but we hope that we've instilled him with the tools that he needs to get on in life. And there's lots of battles ahead, managing when he should have a mobile phone, when he should go out into the world for himself, but you learn them things as time goes on. Yeah, it's a learning curve. So I know a lot of what we've talked about can feel overwhelming and that it's really, really difficult to manage. But, like I say, you need to just look for that support in each other from family and friends. Don't be afraid to ask for help, even certain services, putting your child into childcare. It is daunting, and you feel a bit guilty sometimes, but you know, we all need to help each other. It's part of raising a child, you know, that whole inner community, you know, raising the kid within the village. So, yeah. And is there anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, I just think that, you know, with anything in life, it's never always going to be like 100% good, 100% perfect. Sorry, should I say? But I wouldn't replace what we have. Like,
Yeah, nice.
I wouldn't change having
All these problems
family.
and difficulties.
Yeah, this is what life's about for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the ups
Yeah,
definitely outweigh.
You can't beat what we have, really.
Yeah, I feel like, you know, the milestones you go through, the laughter we have together, the kind of experiences you have as a family, you know, even when things go wrong, you look back at them and you're like, actually, that was quite funny when he just exploded in his nappy and we had to rush off to find some kind of, like, you know, baby changing in the middle of a retail park or something. Like, yeah, you just, you know, the sleepless nights and stuff like that. Really, when you look at him and he's settled and you've got him to the place you want to get him to, you're like, yeah, it's nice. And you're
gonna have bad days, aren't you? But
Yeah.
You just gotta remember that this is just temporary. This feeling is temporary.
Yes.
It will pass.
So yeah, thanks for your time, babe. Thanks for all your advice and your tips.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I'll see you next time, guys, on The Human Experience.